Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
I'll always remember the first time I stepped out onto the mat. And I couldn't wait to get my black belt. It was like I wanted it the next day. And my heel comes up on one side, heel comes up on the other. But I knew that if I worked hard, I trained hard, I got myself into the gym, that one day I was gonna become that black belt. All right, time! And I wake up every day and I have that same drive and ambition and tenacity in my business so that I can help my clients make smart financial decisions and guide them to reach their dreams and their goals.
Hey, how are you?
Can I get you anything?
Let's say hypothetically we were able to start out with $100,000. I don't care if you have $5, $50, $500, $500,000. We are in business to help people. You'll see the multiple carriers that we have on our platform. We are an independent firm. That means we have zero ties to any insurance or investment company. We have zero quotas as it relates to sales. This really allows us to focus on what is truly best for our clients' best interest. The death benefit amount, you're gonna notice stays flat the entire way. That's guaranteed never to change. I believe in an educated client, right? We wanna make sure that there's enough money for the children. Wexford is a team. Our philosophy here is not just trusting me, but trusting our staff, trusting our experience, trusting our knowledge. And we want to earn that from our clients. We don't expect it. I get to really know my clients, and my clients become friends and friends become clients, and that's really important, the relationship. By the time they finish our process, I want them to walk out of my office feeling satisfied and fulfilled and excited on what is to come. We want them to have their black belt.
All right, welcome to another edition of the Leadership and Success Podcast, our third broadcasting today. And before I start with the guest who's waiting for us in the green room, let's start with what we call our moment of gratitude. As you know from earlier today, today I am really grateful for freedom. 10 days ago, it was June 10th, and in a couple of days, it's going to be July the 4th. And freedom is so important, so critical. And I think America is still the freest country in the world. And I think freedom is not free. And I am so grateful for every man and woman who has ever served in the U.S. Armed Forces, because those are the people who have absolutely earned our freedom. We are free today because of their sacrifices, and I'm so grateful for that. So let me know in the comment where are you from, where are you joining us from, what city, what state, and what are you grateful for today. And also, if you have a question for my guest, type it in the comments. We will be answering live. And hello again to Daniel Young. He was there earlier for our previous podcast. So glad that you were able to join us again. And let me see if I can properly introduce our guest. So we're going to be speaking, like I say, to Scott Zuckerman. He has so many credential in the fintech world. I believe ChFC is a chartered financial consultant. And he is also CFS, which I believe is Certified Fund Specialist, and also CLU, which is a Chartered Life Underwriter, and also CHS. Man, my goodness, so many credentials, Chartered Special Needs Consultant. So, very, very certified in what he does. He's the president and CEO of Wexford Financial Strategies, an entrepreneur, a fintech founder, and author of Don't Be a Financial Disaster to the Leadership and Success podcast today. And we're going to be talking about his best-selling book as well. So Scott's story is one of resilience, reinvention, and purpose. After experiencing his own financial setbacks, he transformed adversity into a mission to help individuals like you and me, families, business owner, and financial advisor build financial confidence and long-term success. Actually, he has a special product which is actually available free as well. We're going to be telling you about toward the end of the show today. So as president and CEO of Wexford Financial Strategies and founder of several innovative fintech platforms, including the Financial Fitness Passport, we're going to be talking about in just a moment, and also Advisor Marketing System, Scott is helping people simplify financial complexity and make better decisions for their future. And I think this is quite relevant, especially for military families and those who are about to transition back into civilian life. So part of what we're going to be learning today is how personal adversity shapes Scott's mission and entrepreneurial journey, but also practical strategies for building wealth and achieving financial freedom. So, without any further ado, please help me welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast the one and only Scott Zuckerman. Good morning, Scott. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. I'm on the
Good
East
afternoon. That's right.
Coast. Yeah, good morning to you, but good afternoon to me.
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you, that was some introduction.
Thank
I've
you.
never been introduced that way. That was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. All the way from Wall Street to New York, and I am in
Right.
Silicon Valley. This is really fantastic. I really love how technology can bring us together. So, what is one thing you are grateful for today?
Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to frame this just based on what you're grateful for, and that is this amazing country,
Yes.
our men and women who fight every day for this country. I couldn't do what I do, and you certainly can't do what you do without them. Thank you for your service,
Thank
and
you.
that's really something that's near and dear to me. Even though I've personally haven't served, definitely have had family members who have, and it's the greatest gift that anyone could give to their country. So I just want to start out by saying that.
Thank you so much. Always very much appreciated. Now, we knew from the intro video you actually are a black belt in mixed martial arts, which is really, really cool. Is there something else about you that's kind of unique? Most people may not know when they first meet you.
Sure. I'm one of these people who takes interest in a lot of different things, and I look to excel in anything that I do. So one thing about me that a lot of people probably don't know, when I was 16, I was a professional magician.
Really?
Uh,
Wow.
yes, and I am also a instrument rated pilot.
That's pretty amazing. Wow. Where do you find time? My goodness.
Yeah, my wife says the same thing. I don't know. I just managed to make it all happen. I don't sleep very much.
Man, you are CEO, founder of multiple ventures. So you've received so many accolades already. Beyond all of your accolades, titles, and everything you've done, who is Scott Zuckerman?
So, I if I had to define myself, I'm going to say that I am a hardworking, passionate person
Mm,
who enjoys helping people,
yes.
teaching people, and figuring out ways that I can help change the world.
Wow, that is
My
quite
own.
powerful. Yes. I like that. So looking back on your journey, sir, what experiences shaped the leader you are today?
I think anyone who considers themselves a strong leader can really only be a leader through failure.
Mm,
So I think my greatest lessons that I've had in life is when I've failed. And that's what makes me always stronger and come out more on top are those failures in life.
Well, that's really powerful. Actually, it's a question I ask a lot of the people I talk to. I have this coin was given to me by my skipper. One side says success, the other side says failure, meaning that success and failure are two sides of the same coin. And many times on the show, right, leadership and success, we talk about success. In America, we like to glorify success, but the truth is, many people they don't achieve success until they've gone through failure. I really like what you say. How failure shaped your life and your success. Is there a specific times that you felt like you had failed that comes to mind, and also kind of what you learned through it, and how you were able to turn that around?
Yeah, sure. I would say that one of my biggest failures in business was declaring bankruptcy at the age of 23. I had graduated from Syracuse University, originally thought I was going to become a lawyer and go to law school, and then realized that really I have entrepreneurship running through my blood. A My grandfather was an entrepreneur, and I don't know, it's just business was in my blood, and I wanted to start a business right out of college. And it was right during the time of the dot-com era.
Mhm.
So I had started a dot-com and was working a full-time job in Manhattan, and I knew that the job I was in was going nowhere. It was literally just to pay my bills and to fund my business venture.
Mm.
And I also knew, because my parents had saved money from my bar mitzvah, and I didn't really know how much was there, but when I told my parents that I wanted to start a business, of course, when you start a business, what do you need? You need money. So I went right to my parents first,
Mm.
and they said, "Look, we wish you the best of luck. You want to do this? Here's your bar mitzvah money." And back
Wow.
then, you're talking 26 years ago. I think I had about $60,000,
Wow.
which was a lot of money. And I took all of it and I invested it into a .com. I did a ton of marketing. I was just every dollar that I had, I was pumping into this business. And it was fairly well known. And right at the time that I was looking to start raising capital is right when the NASDAQ crashed and
Wow.
when all the venture capital was drying up, .com became
Mm.
.bomb.
Yeah.
And there was just no more money. It just completely dried up. And I also took out a bunch of business and personal loans. And then I just said, all right, well, what can I do to make this work? I was literally trying to do anything in my power. Like, okay, well, it's good I can have a website, but how can I remarket this? And it was in the event space in
Yeah.
entertainment. And so I dropped the .com. I started doing private and corporate events. And then 9/11 happened.
Wow.
So the first budget that any company cut was their entertainment budget. Uh,
Mm.
so I was really in the wrong place at the wrong time twice, plus the fact I was young and didn't
Wow.
really know what I was doing. And I got to a point where I was $250,000 in debt at
Wow.
23. And there was just no way out of it. And had no choice but to declare bankruptcy. And then I had no idea what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I also, at the same time, was witnessing a very successful family business also have their own financial troubles. That business ultimately closed. Again, that was started by my grandfather, very
Wow.
well-known institution on Long Island. That went out of business. So certainly the family business wasn't for me either. And I just kind of thought to myself, you know what?
Mm,
Maybe what I should do is the learn how to be financially responsible, learn
man.
about taxes and investing and debt, and maybe I could
Yes.
become a consultant and help other
Wow.
businesses not experience the same thing that I did both personally and through my family. And that's what led me into financial services.
Wow, that is really quite a story. I'm assuming, did you go to college?
I did. So I graduated from Syracuse University
And
in,
what was your degree?
I was pre-law
Wow. Oh,
actually.
yes. That's true.
Yeah.
You said you
Yeah.
were going to go to law school first. Wow. That is
Yeah.
really
So yeah, I
insane.
was pre-law, and then I got all of my designations through the American College, which is
Yes.
in essence it's
Hmm.
graduate program study.
Yes. Wow. That is amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. 23 years old, more than $500,000 in debt. It might as well be $1 trillion, right?
I know,
Man,
right?
and really, it's beyond your control. Just things happening to the economy. The dot bomb, everybody remembers that. 9/11. After that, what was kind of the first thought that entered your mind then when you felt like I have to go through bankruptcy? What were you thinking?
Um, I was just thinking this is just a little bump in the road,
Wow,
and um, I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and whatever it
really?
is I choose to do, I'm going to be successful.
Okay,
And
that
that,
surprises me. When I was 23 years old, I didn't think like you. I was more like almost like a teenager. $500,000? Are you kidding me? It's like the end of my life. Wow. What? Why do you think? Where did that come from? You think
you
just
know,
that
I, yeah,
resilience, that positive outlook in something that looks so big, such a huge challenge, especially for a 23-year-old.
again, I just think it's in my blood. I mean,
Wow.
at 13 years old, I had started my first business. I was
Incredible.
stringing tennis rackets and selling tennis supplies out of my house when I was
Wow.
13. So for me, again, I don't know. It's just, it's in my blood.
Yes.
I truly,
Wow.
I truly believe that. Not that I don't want to
Yes.
say that anyone doesn't have the potential to be an entrepreneur, but I do think it's something that is inherent in someone.
Mm,
Very similar to being a professional athlete. I
yes.
kind of relay that same thing. Look,
Hmm.
I can never play in the NBA or the NFL. It's just
Yes.
not in my DNA,
Hmm.
you know.
Yes. But you can definitely kick ass with mixed martial
But I
arts,
can
can't you?
exactly, but I can kick ass in mixed martial arts.
That's just incredible. I guess no. Remember of the movie Only in New York. It's incredible, just the resilience of people because it is not for everybody, especially when you start a new venture and it looks like you are going to fail. Most people would just give up, count their losses, and be done. But you just come back another venture, something else, and eventually here you are, very successful CEO and founder of multiple. Enterprises, which is just fascinating. But back then, though, how did that experience affect your confidence at 23 years old?
Oh, it was definitely a shot to the ego for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and I was scared. I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm
Hmm.
like, and what was, I forgot about this, but during the time, obviously, we'll talk about the fintech stuff, but
Hmm.
and I mentioned how I had a .com, so I was always good in technology.
Hmm.
So while I was trying to figure everything out, I created this company called the Town Geek.
Mm.
And so I printed out, and this is actually one of the ways I wound up in financial services, actually. But I printed out about 10,000 5x7 postcards. And at the time, I was living near a pretty close to one of the train stations in the Long Island Railroad. I mean, they're
Mhm.
all easy to get to anyway. But the way I started was right after, right during rush hour. I would go to a different train station every day
Mm.
and hand out the postcards for the
Wow.
town geek on the platform. Then, after rush hour was over at around 9 a.m., the parking lot was packed with hundreds and hundreds of cars. So then I went in under each windshield.
Wow.
I hate when people do that to me,
That's
but
commitment. My goodness.
under each windshield, I put the flyer. And people after work, then I'd get phone calls and they'd say,
That's
"Oh, I
amazing.
got your flyer." And I'd go over to people's houses and fix their
Wow.
computers and stuff like that. I put some extra
Amazing.
money in my pocket. So,
No,
um,
I must ask you again, where does that resilience, that force de vie comes from? It's like, wow,
yeah,
unstoppable.
exactly. Well, that's what it is. As
That's
I
amazing.
mentioned, I want to make a difference.
Hmm.
Uh, I, I, my brain operates in a way that it just doesn't sleep very much, and I'm just
Wow.
constantly thinking. And I'm thinking of, when you watch Shark Tank,
Mhm.
and you look at these inventions, and you're like, wow, like why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, yeah,
And it
yeah.
could be something so simple that is just a
Yes.
genius idea. And
Mhm.
my mind just always goes trying to come up
Wow.
with new things that I can do and
Mm.
create. And it also keeps me from being bored.
Yeah, no, that is definitely a gift. But now I must ask you, your parent gave you $60,000. Back then, that's a lot of money. Now that you know you are going through bankruptcy, you've completely lost everything and then some. What did your parents, your family, your close friend, what did they say to you as you were going through the process of bankruptcy back then? Any encouragement in trying something new, or what kind of
Yeah.
feedback
Well,
did you get?
here's what I will tell you. I think you, like anything, you have to know your children. And my parents knew that my parents always believed in me, to the
That's
point
powerful.
where before I declared bankruptcy, my parents believed in me so much
Wow.
that my father, at first, I after I spent the money, and I was bleeding, I needed additional money, and my
Mm.
parents knew that, like, if anybody can do this, Scott can, and they
Wow.
took out a second mortgage on their house.
Get
Uh,
out of here.
I
Wow.
swear they paid off a whole bunch of debt, so that I could free up credit so that I can borrow additional money.
Mm.
And interestingly enough, and obviously, look, then what happened? I declared bankruptcy. But to this day, I worked and worked and worked until
Mm.
probably, let's see, I would say probably 6 years ago, thereabouts, five
Wow.
or 6 years ago, and paid my parents back every single dime that they gave
My
me.
goodness.
So,
Wow. I must say that must be a real motivation for you not to give up when people trust in you that much.
yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What did that experience teach you about life leadership?
Well, I think again, it goes back to the whole success and failure. You hit the
Mm.
nail on the head. You have to have failures in order to be successful. Most people,
Mm.
unfortunately, fail. They give up, and that's it.
Yes.
If you're riding a horse and you get bucked off, you got to get right back up on that horse.
Mm.
And I think
Powerful.
the, I think a lot of people also want a get rich quick scheme. So they're willing to try anything and try anything once. And I just think
Yes.
people typically do things for the wrong reasons. Uh,
Mm.
for me,
So knowing
leadership,
your why.
yeah, leadership is about working hard, perseverance,
Yes.
never giving up, and that non quitting spirit, so to speak. Uh,
Mm,
and I think that's what breeds success. And
yes.
unfortunately, in today's day and age, I just think more and more people, especially the younger generation, just have
Hmm.
so much of an entitlement complex. Why? Because of
Yes.
things like this. We have information at our
Hmm.
fingertips all the time, and it comes easy and fast. But
Yes.
that's not what life is about.
Wow.
And that's what I try to teach my children is life is about working hard. Life isn't easy. And if you
Hmm.
want to take the easy way out, you certainly can. But there's only so much that you're going to get in return.
Wow, that is so powerful. Of course, this wasn't planned, but I feel like people who are listening right now are really going to learn so much from you because it's true. You can learn from success, but I feel like success doesn't teach very much. I think it was President JFK, right, who said, uh, failure is an orphan, but success has many favors. But most of the time, we don't really learn much when we keep succeeding over and over again. But when you go through a period of failure, I think you really get to learn some of life's, I believe, most valuable lesson. And during that time period, was there maybe a decision that you made that shifted your trajectory, or maybe a conversation, maybe with your parents, or a book, a mentor, a prayer, or a moment that kind of changed everything from you going from $500,000 in debt, going to bankruptcy, to becoming the successful entrepreneur you are today?
Not really. And just to clarify, it was a quarter of a million in debt. Still a lot of money, not half a
Hmm.
million, but quarter of a million.
Yes.
The What did my parents say?
Yeah. To me, it might as well be in $1 trillion.
Exactly.
It's just too much money.
Um,
Yeah.
I, again, not really, because I knew that no matter what, I was going to work hard. I'm like, I'm in debt to my parents. They believe in
Yes.
me, but I believe in myself more important.
Mm,
So,
that's
uh,
powerful.
if you have to want it for yourself, you have to want the success,
Mm,
and I, I also I like nice things,
yes.
and you need money to buy nice things.
Hmm.
But I don't just go in the backyard and pluck the money off the tree. I work
Yeah,
hard.
that's what my mother used to say. Money doesn't grow on trees. No, I like that you believe in yourself. I think that's what we need more and more now to build that confidence. Where do you think that confidence came from, as far as you are concerned? Why did you believe in yourself so much? You think?
Um, well, part of it I think is human nature, but the
Mm,
other, I will say, my time that I spent in martial arts,
yes.
uh, that was something
Mm,
that really teaches you how
yes.
time, if you put in the time and the dedication, and you work hard, uh,
Mm,
you
that's
can
powerful.
accomplish whatever goals you set out to.
Yes.
And what I said in the video is the truth. I'll never forget the day that I walked
Mm,
into the karate studio. I walked in off the street, and the gentleman who was at the desk, he had his black belt, and I looked up on the walls.
mm.
There's weapons and all this stuff, and oh well, how long does it take to get your black belt? Like, and then when you have everyone who's in the class and you look at everybody's belt level,
Mm.
like, you're there in your white belt, and then in this discipline it's like, all right, now I'm blue. It's like you look at
Wow.
everyone in the class, you're like, well, no, I think I'll look really good in the green or the red. I gotta,
Yes.
you know.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. No, that really speaks to me, uh, because it is true. There are things you do not even know. Military training. You're talking about martial art and all of that. It teaches you a lot about yourself and about life too. And I think about success. What has martial arts taught you about life and leadership?
So this is the best part of the story as it relates to martial arts.
Mhm.
So you probably can't tell in the camera, but my nose is a little crooked, and that's because and it goes one way. It goes towards the left. And why? Because I had my nose broken twice.
Wow.
And it was both times by a righty. At least one time it should have been a righty and then a lefty, and my
Hmm.
nose would still be a little straight. But look, that's one of the best lessons. You get
Mm.
punched in the face, but you just keep going. I
Wow.
had my nose broken twice, and it didn't keep me from training. It didn't scare me.
Wow.
What it did is it made me stronger, and I'm like, all right, yeah. So I broke
That's
my nose.
amazing.
You
Uh,
know, so, and that's in anything in life. So again, kind of like
yes.
those successes and failures.
Hmm.
Um,
Never,
you,
never, never give up.
right,
That's
never give up. You get a beat
wow.
down. I had blood dripping down my face during my black belt test. This is another good one. So
Mm.
it was during my black belt test, and back then we had to wood breaking was part of the black belt test. So whatever it was that however many boards you could break when you were at your black belt test, they added one more. So let's say it was
Wow.
you broke five. Well, at your black belt, you consistently broke five. At your black
Hmm.
belt test, now you need to break six, right?
Mm.
And then there was a station break where you had different people holding the wood, and in one turn, in without stopping, you had to go to
Hmm.
each of the people to break the board. And
Wow.
my very last kick was a round kick, and I split my foot open. I did break the board, but I split my foot open.
Oh no.
Now I'm bleeding all over the place. And the next thing that I had to do was fight for 15 minutes.
Wow.
And they brought me over to the little triage area that they had, and they said, look, you can't fight. You have to go to the hospital. You need stitches. I
Mm.
said to them, I said, I'm not leaving here without fighting. I said, I'll
Wow.
fight for the 15 minutes, bandage me up as just tight.
Wow.
I said, I'm going out there and I'm fighting. And I fought for 15 minutes. I got blood all over every single person that I fought, but I took home my black belt that day. And then I
That's amazing.
went from the test to the hospital to get my stitches, but I wasn't leaving.
Wow. I don't know. I feel like there is something supernatural in all of us. Kind of like this, feeble woman who, when there's danger, or child, she's gonna be strong enough to lift a car or do whatever it takes. There is that thing. It seems like in martial arts, you can access that part of you much easily. Like I remember, I'm not in martial art or anything, but the first time I had to break a board, one of my mentor, Tiav Aker, that was I think in at Atlanta. I didn't think I could do it, but I did. And what that taught me is okay. I thought I couldn't do it, but now I have confidence I can. Therefore, there is nothing that can stop me, right? And again, Tony Robbins, another one of my mentors, is a little bit crazy. He makes you walk on fires and break boards and stuff. But yeah, but it just teaches you that there are things that you thought 2 minutes ago was completely impossible, but now I've done it, and no matter what comes my way, I'm gonna be able to make it.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's
Absolutely.
powerful. Man, so how different are you today because of all of your experiences, what you went through, the bankruptcy, but also your experience in martial art?
I just feel like I can't I can't stop. I
Mm,
just I need to keep going. When I put my mind to something,
yes,
I just need to go with it.
so
And
powerful.
I'll tell you, even if I fail, I sleep at night
Mm,
because I tried.
wow,
You can't fail
that's
or
powerful.
succeed
Yes.
unless you try. And
Mm,
I think that that's something that I live by every day. The same reason why someone can't
yes.
tell you yes or no if you don't ask the question.
So
So,
powerful.
right, I just live by that every single day of my life, and I'm excited to get up in the morning. I
Wow.
come into the office. I don't know what the day is going to bring, but I know that every day is going to be different. Especially
Mm.
when you're innovating, and I just love to innovate. So for me, it's like, okay, what is today going to bring?
That's powerful. You remind me of our President Theodore Roosevelt, right? Man in the arena. He says, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong men stumble, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena."
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. I'd rather try and fail than not have tried at all. Powerful, powerful. So you did mention your children, and I have two daughters myself. How will this experience kind of shape the legacy you leave behind? What lesson do you hope your children learn from watching you survive all of this and becoming the man you want to be?
So there are two things that I can't stand as it relates to qualities of human beings, and that's laziness and mediocrity.
Yes.
So, what I instill in all of my children, and I have four of them, I have two of my own. My wife has two. We're a little bit of the Brady Bunch. So, we're four together, and the kids grow up together, and it's great.
Wow.
But that's what I instill in all of them. I say,
Yes.
just don't be lazy, don't be mediocre. And
Mm,
it doesn't matter. I don't, when it came to school, I said, I don't care if you got a failing grade, but if you
yes.
didn't study and you didn't work to your best potential, that's
Mm,
what bothers me more than anything.
yes.
But if you bust your ass, then you know what? You tried.
Mm, that's
You
powerful.
tried and
Powerful.
failed, and you're going to hopefully learn from that experience.
Wow. Be the best no matter what you do. That is so powerful. Yeah, I like to tell my kids that I am allergic to mediocrity. But well, if I'm
Well,
gonna
it's
do something, I
it's
better do it
funny.
well.
It looks like we have a couple of people who were on here, and Daniel Young, he
Hmm.
said, speaking of loving to innovate, what's the
Yeah.
ethical line between using AI as a support tool and letting
Hmm.
it shape decisions that still require human accountability and
Demote
demote
laziness.
laziness and mediocrity?
Mhm.
Look, I think that's an excellent question, Daniel. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's those who fear, and we'll talk about this when we get into the
Mhm.
fintech and what I created, but
Yeah.
those who fear artificial intelligence, those are the ones who are, in my opinion, going to be the ones who are more lazy and mediocre because they just
Mhm.
feel like they're going to be set aside.
Mm.
Um, I think about just when the internet came out, right? We didn't
Yeah.
have it. We didn't have the internet. And if you wanted to go somewhere, you had to pull out a regular map.
Yes.
Then when MapQuest came out, think of this, right? You
Hmm.
used to go on MapQuest and print it out, and then people would say, "Oh yeah,
Yes.
but you know what? Now I have MapQuest; it spells it all out. No one's going to learn how to read a map anymore." Um, and but look, there's some truth to that. The same way how in
Yes.
schools they don't teach cursive writing anymore.
Hmm.
And people don't use it, and people don't know how to sign checks. So, look, are there going to be certain things that that people are just going to become reliant on AI? Sure, but those are just tools that are going to make our lives a little bit easier, not
Yes.
necessarily make us lazy or mediocre. If you
Hmm.
allow it to make you lazy, for example, if you allow your kids to be sitting like this
Yeah.
all day long, right? Sure, that's going to create that laziness mentality, the mediocre
Hmm.
mentality. But if you use it in the right way and you teach everybody how to use
Powerful.
it the right way, and you use it as a tool, it's going to actually make your life uh, easier from the standpoint of you don't have to do it yourself because you
Hmm.
now have a tool, and that
Yes.
tool is going to make you that much more efficient.
I love that. I love that.
Okay, so I look at it at these tools like AI not from the standpoint of okay being unethical or whatever. I'm saying no, no, no.
Hmm.
I'm going to use the tools that I have in my. It's just another feather
Mm.
in the cap, another tool in the toolbox that's going to hopefully help me more successful, make me be
Yes.
more successful by having access to these tools.
That's
So Daniel,
powerful.
that answers your question.
Absolutely. I love that. So let's talk about leadership and building Wexford financial strategies. What you've built Wexford financial strategies around a planning first philosophy. Why was that?
Well, the reason is, and I was, in my opinion, when I came into this industry, there were at the time getting rid of the titles in the industry. The titles in the industry where you had your banker, you had your insurance salesman, your stockbroker, and they became dirty words, and everybody just became a financial advisor. But the reality of it is, when you actually learned what somebody did, they really were only planning one aspect of someone's life and calling themselves a financial advisor. I took issue to that. Because if you're just selling somebody life insurance, or you're just selling somebody long-term care, or you're just managing somebody's investment portfolio, you're not a financial advisor. You are an investment manager. You are an insurance advisor. A life insurance advisor, a disability insurance advisor, whatever you want to call yourself. But you're not a financial planner. Okay.
Yes.
And so I took issue to that. And that was one of the reasons why I said, I'm going to go get my designations. I want to learn planning. I want to learn everything there is to know about how someone's financial life operates, how a business operates financially. I want to become educated in that. And then once I get educated in it, then I can kind of put my own flavor behind it, so to speak, and then be able to educate the public. And so what I did when I started out, when people ask me what I did for a living, I said I help people organize their junk drawer, because most people have one. Why? Because they buy home insurance. When they buy a home, they get a car, you need auto insurance. You have a family, I'm going to be responsible, I'm going to buy some life insurance. Oh, I started working, I'm going to invest in my 401k. I'm going to open a Robinhood account, and I'm going to buy some shares of Nvidia, whatever the favorite stock is of the hour. And before you know it, you just have this big conglomerate of all these financial products that have no rhyme or reason, no connection. There's zero integration. And that's where waste happens. And that's not only just waste, but that's also where you have the potential to be what I call derailed from reaching your financial goals. And that's why I built Wexford Financial Strategies around a planning first philosophy, putting it all together, looking at things macroeconomically rather than looking at something through just like a horse with blinders on, being very microeconomic, tunnel vision. And I say, I want my clients driving down the road in a Humvee, not a motorcycle. And I think most people fly by the seat of their pants.
Yes.
And that's what I set out to educate.
That's really powerful. And I know for those who are in the military who follow, we know the difference between being tactical, right, operational, but really you're talking about being at the strategic level. How can leaders who are listening right now think more strategically about wealth creation?
So this is the number one point, and I bring this up in my book. You want to build wealth, you have to start somewhere. And I'm not ever going to be the person that tells you, oh, yeah, you're spending too much money in Starbucks. Oh, you can't go out for a sushi dinner tomorrow. I hate the word budget. Budget does not exist in my planning vocabulary. What does exist is cash flow management, and they're two completely different things, in my opinion. Nobody ever wants to live by a budget. But when you understand your cash flow and you understand the difference between fixed expenses and variable expenses, and you understand that, and then set aside some level of forced savings, the power of compound interest, Albert Einstein said that, right? It is extremely powerful. And once you start and that compounds, and you're making smart decisions because you're educated, that's where you're going to wind up building wealth. And it's just got to be strategic.
Really, really powerful. And you did mention your book. We're going to get to it in a moment, but I want everybody to get a copy. Don't be a financial disaster. We're going to get to that. But before we do, let's talk about your entrepreneurship and all of the innovation you've been a part of. Because you didn't just stop at financial planning. You also built fintech companies. Why did you have to do that?
I wanted something else to do. No, I'm kidding.
Brilliant.
um, why? I saw a gap in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
and I said I'm gonna solve this gap. But then on top of that, there was this little thing in the back of my mind, like a little, the parrot sitting on my shoulder saying, "You failed the first time with the .com.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's take advantage of the fact that AI is here, and how can I utilize that AI to enrich people's lives, but
Mm.
take everything that I have, my 22-year experience, and train an
Yes.
AI engine on how to really help people."
Wow.
And I I looked at the industry, and I looked at all of the apps that were available, and there's a ton of them, by the way, and they're great.
Yeah.
Um, but there's one thing that all of these apps have in common, and the one thing they all have in common is that they solve one problem,
Mm.
maybe two. None of them put it all together.
Yes.
And so what I
Again, that strategy and being
exactly
integral. Yeah.
Exactly. So you can have tons of budgeting apps, apps to help you with investing, apps to help you
Mm-hmm.
with debt, uh, but no one puts it together.
Yes.
And so I said, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be the
Mm.
pioneer. I'm going to put it out there to the entire population, because I'll tell you something else that I think is critical here. And that is that most financial advisors are working with the top 5%, 5 to 10% of the US population. And
Mm-hmm.
the underserved, who are that 0 to 90%, the kids who are graduating from college with jobs and
Yeah.
know nothing about finance, the
Mm-hmm.
people who are just told, okay, put money in your 401k so you have money in retirement, but then don't have a distribution strategy. Any of
Yes.
these things people don't know, and they're not going to financial advisors. That
Mm.
that 1 to 90% of the population. And
Yes.
so I set out to come up with something, a platform that was going to
Mhm.
solve that problem, and I did.
Wow. That is really quite remarkable, because it's true in American schools. I mean, we have some of the best colleges, but they don't teach you about anything about microeconomic. Even when I went to college, I took an economic class, but it was all about microeconomics only. They didn't teach me how to manage money, how to invest, or even how to write a check. I was like 17 years old when I came to this country. I had to learn everything all by myself. That's kind of strange. So one such app you've created is financial fitness passport. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yes.
What
So
problem were you trying to solve there?
yeah, so that's exactly what I was just alluding to. So financial fitness passport is a gamified, rewards based financial education and guidance system that
Mm,
takes the user through all 7 pillars of financial planning, from cash flow all the way through to estate planning, all
mhm.
driven by my AI agent, Penny. And what
Wow.
Penny does is Penny gets to learn the user behavior. She has a memory, so she can remember where the user is within the process. She
Hmm.
educates and guides appropriately to really help people learn about their finances, every aspect.
Wow.
She can analyze any financial document and explain it in layman's terms. How many people go and get a job
Amazing.
with their employer and get handed a benefits package this
Hmm.
way? So you could take that benefits package, upload it into the system. Penny will read it and tell you exactly
Amazing.
what benefits are available to you based on what you've completed already in the system. She can help guide you as to what benefits may be
Wow.
beneficial to you or not. And it's pretty much anything like that across the board. Insurance
Mm,
documents, investment statements. She's going to learn your cash flow. She's going to learn what debt you have. You're going to
yes.
learn how to build emergency funds. You're going to learn
Wow.
how to invest. You're going to learn about estate planning. You're going to learn about taxation and ways that you
So amazing.
can lower the amount of taxes that you pay. And it's all built under one umbrella. And as you
Wow.
accomplish your goals, then you get rewarded along the way. So
Mhm.
this way it keeps you coming back, and Penny will hold you accountable to the process.
That is really, really amazing. I wish your tool existed when I was a college kid. And you can get also your free passport score. And actually, you can get started for absolutely free. We don't even have to
Yes,
pay anything, right? Financialfitnesspassport.com.
right. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, you get all it takes is about 90 seconds, and in 90 seconds, you can
Amazing.
get your passport score from our questionnaire, and also interact with Penny.
That is really amazing. Most entrepreneurs, they wouldn't even give you a free option even to just test the platform. Why are you giving it away for free?
I'm giving away the free passport score because I want people to really give themselves a self assessment to see
Mhm.
where they think they are.
Wow.
Um, and I can tell you from just looking at the users. By the way, this platform is 8 weeks old.
Wow.
It's brand new, hot off the press, and from
Well,
the
did first mention here, guys, the Leadership and Success podcast. Thank you.
yes, yeah, that's true. And um, any of the passport scores that have been generated, it's quite interesting to see, and it is kind of along
Hmm,
the lines of what I would expect, where I would
that's
expect
amazing.
people to be. And I think that most people are ranging between that 25 to 50-ish range. But the idea is everybody should be 100. There's no reason why
Absolutely.
you can't be 100.
I like that. I like that. Now, for the people who are listening, there is a portion of my audience they do want to become an entrepreneur. No? As you know, most businesses when they start, they end up failing. What do you think separates entrepreneurs who succeed from those who quit too early? And also, what leadership lesson have you learned from your own ex- experience and innovation career?
I think a lot of people get discouraged because, like anything else, you need money. And I
Hmm.
think that's one of the biggest things that may discourage people is, well, I have this idea and I know it's going to take money to move forward with this idea.
Yes.
And I don't have the money to do so. And that is a real problem. But here's what I will say: if you truly believe in yourself and if you work hard, you can succeed. And that's not to say that every idea every idea becomes a hit,
Hmm.
right? Not every song that an artist may write becomes a number one single.
Yes.
Um, and I think a lot of times entrepreneurs sometimes they don't know when to give up,
Hmm.
which kind of goes against what I was saying before, that you keep going. But that does sometimes also get you into trouble when you realize, you know what, I gave it a try, uh,
Hmm.
and it's I just gotta, as Mr. Wonderful would say, I just gotta take it in the backyard and shoot it, right?
Yes, yes.
And I
You got to know when to cut your
You
losses.
have to know when to cut your losses. You don't want to take good
Yeah.
money and put it after bad.
Hmm.
But like anything else, if you work hard, um, at least if you fail, you learn something from it, and maybe the next one is a
Yes.
success. Um,
Wow, that's quite
so
insightful.
yeah,
Yeah, and I also like, basically you saying to be resourceful. Another thing that Tony Robbins taught me, because sometimes you may have a good idea, you don't always have to have the resources in front of you right now. But if you are resourceful, then you're gonna attract the people who will have the money or the resources you need to make that become a reality. Can you tell us a little bit from your experience? You are definitely a very resourceful person. How are there maybe some books or some mentors or some things that kind of helped you have the mindset of always trying to find a way out of what most people may think is a no go or it's impossible? Are you always keep going and always find a way to go from, like we said, bankruptcy to now becoming a successful serial entrepreneur. Anything helped you along your journey?
I know this is going to sound very, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to sound uneducated when
Mhm.
I say I hate reading. I really don't read very many books. Um, and not because I don't want to learn, because obviously I learn every day. I just
Yeah.
have a different style of learning. And
Hmm.
I just find by reading books, even if I'm interested in it, I just tend to zone out. Um, and I get bored. I need the next page. It's just too
Hmm.
slow. But the one thing that for me, I love listening to podcasts,
Yeah.
watching YouTube. Believe it or not, even following some people on TikTok, uh,
Hmm.
looking for different coaches. Um,
Yes.
whether it be on just business management, sales, whatever the case may be. And I look for
Hmm.
that content. And I like to say I'm a plagiarist. So I have no problem if someone has a great idea and it works for them. Well, look, maybe it'll work
Yeah.
for me. So,
Hmm.
um, so
I love
that's,
that.
but there is one particular book that I did read many, many, many years ago. And I forget who the author is, but you can look it
Hmm.
up. It's called The Experience Economy. And
Hmm.
what's great about that book, and a lot of it is about Starbucks and how Starbucks became so successful. The
Yes.
biggest thing with that was walking into a Starbucks. They all look the same. They give you that same feeling. No matter what, if you get a cup of coffee in Seattle or you get a cup of coffee on Long Island, it all tastes the same.
Hmm.
It's providing that experience to the end user, and that's one of the things that made Starbucks so successful.
Wow.
So when I run any of my businesses, I always think about the client experience first.
Yes.
So what is it that the client is going to get out of either a meeting with me by being my client? What are they going to get when they utilize Financial Fitness Passport? What is the user experience?
Hmm.
So I try to take user experience into account as it relates to anything that I do within my businesses.
Yes. Wow, that is really, really powerful. And the experience economy, we do have a digital bookshelf of this podcast. It's by Joseph Pine the second and James Gilmore.
Yes, that's
Teaching
it. Yeah.
of
Okay. Good.
customer time, attention, and money. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And which podcast or YouTube channel would you recommend to my audience who really want to get into becoming entrepreneurs?
Well, of course, this one, BZ. Come on, man. Uh, um, I,
My podcast. Okay, no, somebody else's podcast, please.
yeah. Well, I'm going to say there's none in particular. There is
Hmm.
one that I like, which is, I think it's called Wow Women on, uh, it's a
Yeah.
woman's, do you know what I'm talking?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and that's great. That's successful entrepreneurial women. There is one that is, hold on, and I can tell you exactly
This
what
is really
this
cool.
other one is. Um, this is another great one. The Trailblazers podcast. That one is
Mm,
really
yeah.
good. Um, there's a bunch, but what I like to do is, and I don't just sit and listen to one. I will listen to many, and I do
Yes.
searches. And I also will just scroll. If you watch even YouTube
Hmm.
Shorts, one short's going to go into the next.
Yeah.
And I'll subscribe to them, and then I'll just get pop-ups, and I'll just
Wow.
go and listen.
Powerful.
So there isn't anything that I specifically sit that I'm dedicated to,
Hmm.
because I like to be worldly and
Yeah.
get a little bit from everybody.
Yes. Based on what the challenge you are facing. Thank you so much. Again, the book, The Experience Economy. Would like everybody to get a copy of that too. So this is a great segue to come to your best-selling book. Don't be a financial disaster. Why did this book have to be written?
It had to be written because a lot of people I come across are financial disasters. And I wrote the book during the time of the pandemic, and this was my way of letting people know that there are a lot of talking heads out there when it comes to finances, and I like to call them financial myths. And the reality of it is that every person's individual situation is different, and I don't like making blanket statements. So I figured if I can give the financial education inside of a book and make it simple so that people can actually understand what they're reading, it needs to be written so that a middle schooler can understand the book.
I love that.
To give you an idea, I talk in the book, I compare the stock market to sunglasses and umbrellas. I swear, I mean, that's how easy I make it. Still to this day, 20 plus years later in this industry, when I do my investment education meeting with my clients, we talk about sunglasses and umbrellas. And I have clients from 20 years ago, and when we do reviews and we talk about sunglasses and umbrellas. So it's making it simple. And when you can do that, it makes it much better, easier for people to understand. And when you do that, then it helps them take action.
I like that, the focus on taking action, but also I like that you said it's customized to the people, right? Whatever their financial environment is. That's why I like your financial fitness passport, because it's really based on your own individual issues. So you mentioned some financial myth earlier. What are some of the biggest financial myths people believe in that they should no longer take into consideration?
Well, some of the financial myths out there is I don't need an estate plan. That's one. I don't have enough money to do estate planning. That's one of the biggest myths out there. Myth number 2, this is one of my favorites. I should load up money in my 401k because when I retire, I'll be in a lower tax bracket.
That's pretty crazy.
So, I mean, think about that. When I retire, I'll be in a lower tax bracket. You know, the number one question, and by the way, I've had people come to me and say, oh yeah, well, when I retire, I'll be in a lower tax bracket. So I do this. And I ask them 2 questions. The first thing I do is I hand them a pen and paper, and I ask them to write down all the reasons why they think taxes are going down in the future. Do you know, to this day, I still haven't had a piece of paper with anything written on it. They've all been blank. So that was number 1. And the second question I ask people is, do you want to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire? If you're just living a certain lifestyle today, don't you want to maintain the lifestyle, if not increase it, because you want to live off the fruits of your labor? So, that's just a couple myths, right? Just a book to learn some more.
Because earlier we also talked about planning, that being one of your critical philosophy, right? Why do people buy financial product without having a financial plan? Why do people keep doing that?
Because it's just what they see on TV. It's what's advertised. People, they're sold, or they go see like I said, to kind of come full circle, to see a financial advisor, but the financial advisor they're seeing is there to sell them some financial product. You walk into a bank, they're gonna try and sell you some financial product.
Yes.
We lead with process. And that's really what it comes down to. Anyone tries to sell you a product, run the other way.
I like that.
Start with process and end with product.
So what surprised you most while writing the book?
What inspired me the most?
No, what surprised you?
Oh, surprised me. What surprised me the most? I don't think I really had any surprises.
Was there a chapter that was more challenging for you to write? And if yes, which one?
Not necessarily. I think the hardest part was actually getting started. That was the hardest part. I stared at a Word document for a blank Word document for about a week.
Yes.
And then once I started writing, like, then that was it. I was off to
Yes.
the races. But
That's
getting
awesome.
the first couple words on the page,
Yes.
that was hard.
Yes. And is financial success more about knowledge or behavior?
Oh, it's a combination of both.
Mm.
You have to have you definitely have to have the knowledge to then have the behavior to implement
Yes.
what it is that you
What you
learn,
know. Yes.
right? So
Mm.
it is definitely a combination of both. But absolutely, there's a lot of behavioral finance. Uh, I talk about that with clients all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that goes back to mindset.
Yes.
Um, and there are some people who are spenders and others who are savers, and you have everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
So behavior is definitely,
So,
yeah.
but why do you believe? Why do intelligent people still make poor financial decisions? I mean, people with PhD, with 2, 3 masters, they still don't understand this financial thing. It's like a black box. They may have great title, great job, they make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, they have nothing to show for it. Why do you
Because
think that's the case?
I think they're educated in what they're educated on what they're educated in field is.
Yes.
They're not educated on basic financial planning principles. And that I can't tell you how many smart people I know, doctors,
Mhm.
lawyers, business owners,
Yeah.
that just are not financially savvy. Um,
Mm.
and it's not to say that they're not smart. They just don't know.
Yes. Is that part of the reason why you're creating all of these tools, your book and the financial fitness passport to help people really get to not only have the knowledge but also have the habit? Right? Because I think one thing you said, financial passport is it encourages you, right? It gives you rewards and really gets you to take action, doesn't it?
Exactly. And that's the behavioral aspect of the application,
Yeah.
because you can go and enter the data and that's your discipline. So a lot of people ask me,
Hmm.
oh, why don't you have an integration like with Plaid or whatever, where the AI can just, if you have the AI in the
Hmm.
program, the AI can go and connect to my bank account and do the cash flow for me. That defeats
Mm.
the purpose.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I
And
like
that's
that.
sort of what I was bringing up with Daniel earlier and
Hmm.
answering his question. That
Yes.
defeats the purpose. Can I do that? Absolutely. But the whole
Hmm.
point is for you to learn what you have. So when you're
Yes.
looking at those bank statements and credit card statements and you go, holy shit, I'm the one who's keeping
Mhm.
Amazon in business.
Yes. Yes,
Right.
indeed. Yeah. Wow.
So that's why. And that's the discipline, the behavior.
Mm. Because there's something else incredible in the book. You really talk about incremental change, right? Why is consistency so powerful?
Because the minute you stop something, look, like going to the gym, you can work out, you go and train martial arts, whatever it is that you do in life, you need to
Yes.
stay consistent. And if you're not consistent, that's where you're going to have regression.
Yes.
So that's why those incremental steps and starting off small, that's why one of those financial myths, I don't make enough money to even start. Well,
Mm.
that's just a financial myth. Incrementally, small.
Yeah.
Start with $5, $10. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But then once you get into that habit, that's when you can really start to see change.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, we really never learn about money even in the best colleges here in the US. I think your book should become a curriculum, at least for high school, definitely in college. People need to learn about that. If you could rewrite America's financial education system, what would you teach every high school student?
If I were to teach high school students or anyone for that matter,
Hmm.
when you build a house, you need a solid foundation. The foundation for all financial planning is cash flow management. And in
Mm.
this country, we tend to credit and forget it.
Yes.
And that's the worst cash flow management that you can have.
Mm.
So Yes, you buy what you can afford. Most people live beyond their means. And I think what is really going to, if I were going to teach anything to anybody, business owner, entrepreneur, young person, older
Mhm.
person, understand cash flow management. And
Wow.
once you do that, then you can start building the house.
Yes. That is quite insightful. And if someone read one and only one chapter from your book, which chapter would you want it to be and why?
I'd want it to probably be the financial myths. That's probably where I would suggest people start if you were to only read one chapter.
Hmm.
Because I put my personality into the book too.
Yes.
So I love the financial myths.
I like that. And many people just don't realize it. But if you had a couple of minutes with every American family, what
I do
financial
have, yeah, I have 3 minutes left for you.
okay, what would you tell them? And we are ending the show.
Go ahead, ask one more time.
So, if you had 2 minutes with every American family, what financial advice would you give them?
Don't spend more than you make. Start off small, incremental savings. And this is a big one. Please have an emergency fund at a minimum 3 months. It is a known fact that nearly 30% of the US population
Mm,
cannot afford a $400 emergency.
wow.
That's a staggering statistic. And that's why I am educating people with my book,
Yes.
with Financial Fitness Passport.
Hmm.
Um, these utilize these tools. You don't need to download 5 different apps. You could do it all in one, and utilize it. Use the tools that are available to you. Um,
Yes.
and I wish everybody out there the most financial success. Work hard,
Mm,
save, make smart financial decisions, and don't spend more than you make. Credit
wow.
card debt is the worst thing that you can possibly have, and that can really derail you. And one last thing, that is really important is making sure that you have proper insurance in place, whether
Yes.
it be for your home, your business, your car, your life. Um, that's really important. It's what we call the protection component of your financial plan. So the
Hmm.
cash flow is the foundation, but even before you have that foundation, we need to build a moat around the castle. And
Wow.
that moat is that protection. So protect yourself, understand your cash flow, start off small, and before you know it, you're going to see that success.
Well, thank you so much, Scott. You've been our master teacher today. As we end the show, what can my audience do to add value back to you?
Uh, to add value to me, all I would say is uh, go get your financial fitness score. It's
Mhm.
free. Spread the word. Help me educate the population.
Yes. Well, thank you so much again for your time. Sorry, we went about 15 minutes over, but I
That's
really
okay,
appreciate you
easy.
teaching us today. It was really fascinating. I'm going to hear this podcast again. Any last word before you go?
All I want to say is a thank you to you, BZ. You do an amazing job.
Thank you.
You're a great interviewer. And once again, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Scott. Bye for now. All right, everybody. So I would like for everyone to follow Scott. He is on LinkedIn. Right. I have this LinkedIn address here, linkedin.com in Scott Zuckerman, Wexford, FS, Financial Strategies. and financialfitnesspassport.com, completely free. And everybody should get a copy of his book. I think it should become a mandatory curriculum in high school and in college. Don't be a financial disaster. Learn about all of the financial myth and how you can really build your life on a secure foundation. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate that. Tomorrow we are going to be back. We have 3 interviews tomorrow. I'm starting with Coach Richard Vickers. He is the author of the newly released best-selling book, Getting Smarter Every Day. We're going to be talking about getting smarter every day, leadership, communication, and becoming your best self. And after him, I'm going to be talking to the excellent Dr. Elizabeth M. Adams. She is a doctor in business administration. We're going to be talking about purpose before code. She's written 6 books now, and I think she is writing more. She's at a TEDx talk. I mean, she's just amazing. She has a nonprofit as well. We're going to be talking about purpose before code, leading humanity in the age of artificial intelligence. And then we're going to end the day tomorrow with Command Sergeant Major Jason Schmidt from the U.S. Army. We're going to be talking about the backbone of leadership inside the non-commissioned officer corps. You don't want to miss it. All right, as we end today, we are celebrating Black History Year on the Leadership and Success podcast. I have actually written a couple of posts yesterday and today about that. Yesterday, I wrote a post. It actually came from the book. I think everybody should read that book, Cast by Isabel Wilkerson. And then a movie was made by Ava DuVernay called. I just watched the movie yesterday. Origin. I think everybody needs to read the book and watch the movie. But in there, they mentioned the story of Al Bright. Again, you can go on my LinkedIn post and read more about this. But this was in not too long ago, right? 1951, in the summer of 1951. 11-year-old black boy. His name was Al. He had just helped his little league team win the Youngstown, Ohio City Championship. Okay, and this is definitely way above the Mason-Dixie line when you think about the U.S. His team celebrated the trip to the municipal swimming pool at South Park, but there was one problem. Al Bright was black, and the lifeguard and pool supervisor refused to let him enter the pool because he was black. Think about that. This is in 1951. And today, you are going to see a couple of posts from me. One was about an incident that happened in Florida, right? St. Augustine, Florida. And what happened then, it was June 18, 1964, the Monson Motor Lodge swimming protest that really changed America. 62 years ago today, one of the most shocking images of a civil rights movement was captured in a swimming pool in St. Augustine, Florida. A group of black and white civil rights activists staged a peaceful swimming at the segregated Monson Motor Lodge to challenge its white-only policy. And among them was a 17-year-old Mimi Jones, who courageously entered the pool, knowing she risked arrest and violence. And a lot of them were arrested that day, but the unthinkable happened that day. The motel manager, again, this was in 1964, not that long ago. My father was born in 1943, so he was almost 20 years old at the time. But the motel manager, James Brock, furious that black Americans had entered the pool, began pouring muriatic acid into the water while shouting that he was cleaning the pool while people were still swimming. Think about that. And then the last thing I like to talk about our profile in courage. And the one person today I would like to honor is actually from Birmingham. I lived in Tuscaloosa, about an hour from Birmingham when I came to the US. So he's quite a hero in Alabama. We're talking about the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. Few leaders in America history really demonstrate more courage than Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. Dr. Martin Luther King called him the most courageous civil rights fighter in the South. Wow. We're going to learn a little bit more about his history. And again, you can read those posts on my LinkedIn page. So I'm going to end today by playing a couple of videos of what I just talked about, again, celebrating Black history, because Black history is American history.
On this day, 62 years ago, the civil rights movement in St. Augustine climbed to another level. June 18th, 1964, this photo was taken of young Black people swimming in a motel swimming pool reserved for white people. The motel manager, so outraged, he poured acid into the swimming pool. It was a civil rights demonstration. Now, off to the side of the swimming pool was a group of rabbis. They were praying and supporting the civil rights efforts. The swimmers and the rabbis were arrested for disturbing the peace, for having a demonstration. Today, there is only one of those rabbis still living, and he's returned to St. Augustine this week.
Hello, everybody.
Rabbi Alan Setcher traveled to St. Augustine this week to a host of friends and admirers.
Yes,
His first visit to St. Augustine was 62 years ago with a group of rabbis from all over the country. They came at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s request.
16 rabbis and a layman came here in June of 1964. I am the last survivor of the 17.
King wanted help from the Jewish community as the civil rights movement in St. Augustine picked up speed, and reactions to it from segregationists and the KKK turned violent.
Clergy are supposed to be not just saying things. They're supposed to be walking the walk.
Setcher and the other rabbis literally walked the walk, peacefully marching then through the town with Black demonstrators.
And walking for a couple of hours, the scariest 2 hours of my lifetime, because we were told there had been shooting.
The 1964 visit climaxed when he and the other rabbis stood to the side of a downtown St. Augustine swimming pool for whites only. Some young Black swimmers jumped in, part of a civil rights demonstration. Furious, the motel manager poured acid into the pool. The swimmers were arrested, and so were the rabbis for holding a demonstration. It was the largest mass arrest of rabbis in the U.S. The 16 rabbis and a layman were put into the same cell at the St. Johns County Jail.
Standing up for something that was right is right.
62 years later, all the other rabbis who were in that jail cell have died, except for Rabbi Setcher. At 91 years old, he has returned to St. Augustine to see a play about his life performed on stage, to visit the building Thursday that was the jail where he was booked 6 decades ago. And he and his wife want to do one more thing.
We want to see if there's changes. What's changed in 60-some years?
He is disappointed that the country still seems divided politically and socially, but he sees a ray of hope. St. Augustine will have its first Black woman mayor this year,
Which is really exciting.
and the rest of his visit to St. Augustine will reveal what else has or hasn't changed.
I'm anxious to find out.
Imagine getting jumped just for trying to enroll your kids in school. That was Fred Shuttlesworth's reality in Birmingham back in 1957. Klansmen holding chains, bats, brass knuckles. They beat Fred almost to death. Even his wife Ruby was stabbed, but somehow they survived. He doesn't go home angry. He doesn't retaliate. He literally just drives himself and his bleeding wife to the hospital. Then when he sits down with his kids to talk about what happened, he tells them to always forgive. And that's just who he was, tough as steel, rooted in faith, and somehow guided by grace in the middle of all that violence. But what happened that day really wasn't a one-off. Fred was the pastor of Bethel Baptist Church, which was basically the headquarters of the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. So he was already this big target. His church was bombed 3 times. His house was bombed on Christmas night with 16 sticks of dynamite. And when a police officer, who was also a Klansman, told him to leave, Fred just looked him in the eye and said he was not raised to run. And he wasn't just fighting for Birmingham. His aim was to change the entire country. He co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But Birmingham was his battlefield. When the Freedom Riders were beaten nearly to death and hospitals refused to treat them, Fred opened his church doors. And in 1963, he was actually the one who told Dr. King, come to Birmingham, force the confrontation. What followed, the marches, the jailed children, the dogs, the fire hoses, forced the world to see what was happening here. Birmingham became the turning point because Fred made sure nobody could look away. Fred Shuttlesworth was chasing real change. He stayed put when it was dangerous, and he pushed forward even when allies hesitated. Laws eventually shifted, but Birmingham shifted first because he refused to back down. History remembers the big moments, but Fred is the reason they matter.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.